welcome to NewsX. This week we're talking to Congress leader and General Secretary Digvijay Singh. He's a man who's known for a lot many things, but as far as the TV fraternity is concerned, we are consistent about one thing. Digvijay Singh is never boring. Welcome to NewsX, Mr. Singh.
Thank you for the great compliment. Thank you.
Which is true. And before you stir up another hornet's nest, which I hope you will today, I'm going to ask you to clarify on an earlier statement. What you said about Rahul Gandhi, that he doesn't have the temperament of a ruler. What exactly did you mean?
Have you seen the clip, what I've said? Unfortunately, everyone is making stories without really listening to the clip of what I've said.
So explain.
See, I have said that we all wanted Mr. Rahul Gandhi to become the leader of the parliamentary party in Congress in Lok Sabha. But he has always been a person who does not go for power. He's not power hungry. If he wanted, he could have become a minister, even a prime minister. But he purposely kept out of this. And he basically is an activist who wants to fight all injustice in the country. He wants to fight for the cause of the underprivileged, the weaker sections, the poor.
A person who wants to be in politics but doesn't want to lead, doesn't want to be a ruler, what kind of a person is that?
Well, this is the run-of-the-mill politicians.
So they let him run an NGO, he can do a lot of good work and fight for the underdog.
Always running for power. But let me tell you one thing. Sorry, I'm not comparing Mr. Rahul Gandhi with Mahatma Gandhi. And I'm not comparing Rahul Gandhi with Jayaprakash Narayan also. But they were also in politics. But they never fought elections. They never went for the power. Even Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, even she had the full mandate
but they made a
and
change.
majority.
What change has Rahul made? I mean, the two great men that you mentioned, we can say they stood for this. What does Rahul Gandhi stand for? What change has he made? He's got 10 years to deliver something and
basically,
he's not even delivered a methi properly.
No, don't say that. He has empowered women in Amethi through self-help groups which are successfully working there.
Congress में self-help भी करनी है because he doesn't help you otherwise.
No, basically he believes in empowerment of the people. That is the running thread between the Congress party's thought and ideology from the beginning. Even Rajiv Gandhi was the one person who tried to amend the constitution to empower the local bodies. So therefore, it is almost a sort of a passion with the Nehru Gandhi family to empower the people of this country rather than using power for themselves.
Not quite so. I mean, they were also very happy to lead, except Rahul is the first Nehru Gandhi apart from Mr. Sonia Gandhi.
Mr. Rajiv Gandhi himself was quite reluctant to get into politics
but once it was offered to him, once he realized that, there was a vacuum and he had to step in, he did. Well, but this vacuum happened in Manmohan Singh's time.
No, that vacuum took place because of the unfortunate assassination of Mrs. Indira Gandhi in 1984. So let us not...
But that time there were other leaders. Pranab Mukherjee could have become, but Rajiv himself became. He didn't appoint her.
Because that was the mood of the nation. That was the mood of the party that time.
But 2004 election was also fought in the name of the Nehru Gandhi clan. It was a Sonia Gandhi win. It was not a Manmohan win.
Yes. So, but then Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, she has always been a person who has never run after power.
That famous power is poison.
Famous quote of her that power is like a poison. And she genuinely believes that राजनीति सेवा के लिए है, सत्ता के लिए नहीं है, which probably Mr. Rahul Gandhi also feels like that.
Is the Congress happy to do seva and not do satta? I mean, all your MPs...
No, that's all right. Everyone is not the same.
Which is why, when all your party people want you to lead, they have some faith in you, and yet the leader, this reluctant Rahul, I saw you rolling your eyes up, but the reluctant Rahul theme is something we've been debating so long. But he does very little to dispel that image.
No, because probably he doesn't want to dispel that image. He wants to Continue with this image.
For a leader to be a reluctant leader?
No, it's not a reluctance. Whenever he is asked to campaign, he's done campaigning vigorously. There is no doubt about it. Whenever I would say, responsibility is given to Mr. Rahul Gandhi, he's delivered.
But delivered in, not with great results.
Result is in the hands of the people. The result is in the hands of the people. In democracy, it is the people who matter. So, don't forget the same troika, which consisting of Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, Manmohan Singh ji and Rahul Gandhi, we won 2004 and 2009 election. So, that's it.
So what is the logic of making a leader of opposition a man who is not really known, or the leader of the Congress in opposition? See, Mr. Kharge, he's not a great debater, he's not a great parliament.
You are underestimating Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge. He has consistently winning each election since 1967. He's won 9 times assembly election. He has won twice parliament election. Comes from a Dalit family, educated.
See, again, and with a great playing politics of symbolism? Is it because he's a Dalit?
With a great sense and a great political acumen. He's been a leader of opposition in Karnataka Assembly. He's been a senior minister in Karnataka government. He's been a PCC president of Karnataka Congress Party. He's been a central government in Karnataka Assembly. He's been a senior minister in Karnataka government. He's been a PCC president of Karnataka Congress Party. He's been a central government minister. So he's a man with experience and an amazing grasp of political situations.
But doesn't instill the same amount of confidence amongst the congressmen, amongst his colleagues?
Well, personally, I've got the greatest regard for Mallikarjun Kharge ji. We've been friends in 1985. But yet, I would have been much happier if Rahul Gandhi ji had taken this role of leadership in the parliamentary party.
Exactly, and you're not the only one. Most people that I speak to are saying this. They're pretty vocal about it. Nobody's saying it. And yet, if someone, even if a leader would do something his people want, isn't that also qualities of a leader?
Well, you can't force something down someone's throat. After all, Mr. Rahul Gandhi who has to decide.
And he seems to be deciding the other way around.
Well, that's his choice.
But with him in the backbenches and Sonia Gandhi sitting in front, is there another shift that we are seeing that the Congress is going back to Sonia and, Rahul is going to be more in the backbenches?
Well, Sonia ji is the leader of the Congress party. She's the president of the All India Congress Committee.
But she tried to step back a bit in the last year.
No, she has appointed Mr. Rahul Gandhi. The working committee has appointed Mr. Rahul Gandhi as the vice president. So he's looking after some aspects of the organization. But Mrs. Sonia Gandhi remains the president of the AICC.
But he's supposed to be a more active vice president. I mean, we all were thought that, is there a division that she will handle parliament, he'll handle the organization? Because his interest really seems to be out of the parliament and not inside the house. I mean, when Modi was speaking, everybody noticed he's sitting in the back benches and he was cleaning his BlackBerry with his kurta. He's not interested in the speech or anything. Even if you don't agree with the guy,
he was not, he did not put earplugs in his ear.
Let's be grateful for that. Trust you to find some silver lining in this. But moving on, A.K. Antony's statement recently, when he says that he's been complaining about the minority appeasement. Now, you are one leader who's been speaking very much in favor of the minorities all the time, of the Muslim vote bank rather. Do you think he's targeting some of you with this comment?
First of all, let me tell you one thing. The Congress party does not believe in any kind of appeasement. What we have done is what any liberal, moderate, secular party should do in a situation in which the country is. Every developed democracy.
But yet Muslims don't vote for you.
But we don't measure. We don't measure votes for doing something. This is the need of the hour. Such a committee has reported that the socio-economic conditions, educational conditions, situation among the Muslims in certain areas is worse than a scheduled caste or a scheduled tribe. So therefore they need a special attention. That is why the Ministry of Minority Affairs was set up.
But yet all this they don't seem to have faith in you. When it comes to the crunch, they'll vote for Mulayam and Uttar Pradesh, Lalu and
again,
Bihar.
Priya, you are again measuring.
But how else do we measure?
No, see, we have done our bit. We have done our best. It is for them to decide who's the best. And we respect their judgment.
Achha, now you very cleverly taken the debate to minority appeasement, but what I was more focused on what Antony said. Do you agree with what he said?
You know, what he has said is that this kind of a perception has been created in the public mind, particularly by Mr. Advani when he keeps on saying pseudo-secularism, Muslim appeasement. But let me remind you, it was Mr. Advani who thought Mr. Muhammad Ali Jinnah to be secular, a person who demanded a separate electorate for Muslims, who demanded a separate country for the Muslims, who converted the new country into an Islamic state. Mr. Advani finds him secular and us communal.
Well, Advani himself has learned the hard way that taking U-turns doesn't help politically.
The point I'm trying to make is, it is unfortunately the sustained campaign of Mr. Advani and the BJP in the Sangh to sort of level charges of minority appeasement against the Congress party and sort of misleading the people on the definition of the word secularism.
So what did exactly Antony mean? Was he just reacting
He was saying this is a perception went home. We could not counter it.
So there is something that you did wrong. Then you need to...
No, we've already said we lost this election because of in the perception war, the lack of communication.
And not lack of credibility.
No, lack of perception and lack of communication leads to lack of credibility.
But yet, you know, it's been over a month since the Congress lost. There's been no introspection. I mean, we hear that MPs are meeting.
Well,
Yes.
Mr. Antony,
the same man who filed the
he's talking to everyone.
So what will happen? The poor Mr. Antony report 13 years ago is still gathering dust.
Don't forget, on the basis of Antony Committee report, we won in 2004.
It was not on the basis of Antony Committee report.
Because of the recommendations.
His recommendation was announce candidates well in advance. That you didn't do.
That was one of the recommendations. But others we followed.
The poor man himself, a lot of the party workers are saying that giving it to Antony is your version of a GOM, matlab cold storage.
No, don't say that. Lot of good decisions were taken by GOMs. Don't sort of belittle that.
But what do you think of Modi's idea to do away with GOMs?
Well, what he says about minimum government and maximum governance is minimum government confined to PMO. That is his definition of minimum government.
But it's, he's also the idea of, cutting down a lot of ministries, clubbing them. But we have a lot of ministries that don't make sense, like an environment ministry being clubbed with parliamentary affairs and with INV.
That is not an issue. That's not an issue.
But then why didn't the Congress do this, have less ministers and club them together?
No, in fact, if you go back, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi did this in 1985.
Yeah, he also.
Well, Ministry of Transport had railway, shipping, and road transport. So HRD ministry was created during his tenure. So it's not that we have not done it, but it is always felt that by such a heavy charge, most of the decisions are then delegated to the junior ministers. And it's a very interesting thing. Mr. Modi has cleverly given all the important portfolios who owe their existence or owe their position to Mr. Modi, who have not won the election. Like Arun Jaitley ji had a unique distinction of being the first defense minister along with the finance ministry. Then you have Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad holding important charges. You have Mr. Javadekar in Forest Environment Ministry. You have Nirmala Sitaraman in Commerce. Then you have Piyush Goyal in Power. Then you have Dharmesh Pradhan in Petroleum. All the key ministries are given to those who can't exist without Modi.
That is true. But you also, I think he learned it from Sonia. She had a prime minister who was a Rajya Sabha member.
No, that's all right.
But do you see him that, this whole emphasis on bureaucracy, how is that going to work? Because these ministers, we are told, are mostly going to be ornamental more than he's going to be controlling it through his bureaucracy.
This is what he means by minimum government and maximum governance.
But will this model work? I mean,
well, this is for the ministers to realize. This is the first time that Prime Minister has held a meeting of secretaries without the ministers.
But at least he's cutting through the red tape.
Yes, and cutting through the ministers also.
But he is at least able to pull it off. Which
let's see whether he can pull it off.
A lot of comparisons are being made with Indira Gandhi. Do you see that?
There is no comparison. There is no comparison between Indira Gandhi and Modi.
Who would you compare it to?
Modi can't be compared with anyone.
Assuming you're not meaning that as a compliment.
No. Well, you may see it as a compliment, as a unsavory remark, but that's for you to understand.
Well, given your Twitter history with him, I think.
Well, that's your choice.
But are you also one of the few who converted, like Shashi Tharoor and some others?
Like what?
Who have been converted towards Modi's way of life?
No, listen, I have never agreed to his style of functioning, nor I will ever do that in this life at least. Because I know the leopard can't change the spots. Modi remains what he was, and he would continue to do so. It's only a matter of time before the nation realizes it.
But give this 1 month, he's taken some hard decisions also, which the Congress was scared or didn't have the political will, like increasing the rail price. In 10 years, there was no rail hike.
Don't be silly, Priya. There were rail hikes at least 2 to 3 times.
Which were rolled back. And a rail minister was sacked.
No, that was different. But yet, there was the fare increases. We took hard decisions. What hard decision is he taken? He is talking of fighting inflation with the same strategy as we have been trying to do.
Trying to?
No, that's why you saw. What he is talking about is a strong action against hoarders and black marketers, which is a state subject. I would like to ask Mr. Modi, as a Chief Minister, what action did he ever take in the 12 years he was a Chief Minister against hoarders and black marketers? I would like to ask Mr. Rajnath Singh, the BJP, the President, as to which of the BJP state governments have ever taken a single action against hoarders and black marketers. None.
But this decision on the, you accusing him of crony capitalism, but the fact that he hasn't gone and taken a decision on the oil price, that shows that he's not really bending to the Ambani's will.
But no, that decision has already been taken by UPA government. So what's so great about it?
But he hasn't implemented it.
No, that is his choice. But the fact remains that the whole process of auction of the KG Basin was taken after a due diligence by the Government of India, and the Reliance Petrochemical, they won in an open tender, and they have gone ahead, and they were lucky to strike gas, and which they are now supplying to the Government of India as per the agreement signed with them. Now, gas pricing is an issue with the Government of India, which is again something which doesn't happen in any other part of the world. India is purchasing gas at more than $12 to $14 per unit gas, and they are supplying at $4. So at the same time, it is not only Reliance who will be benefiting this. They are only a certain minimum percentage of the total gas production. The maximum beneficiaries are going to be ONGC.
So then why didn't the Congress take this decision? If
They took the decision.
But
it was stayed because of the Election Commission.
But that's it. To take a decision in the last month, they show that it's just a symbolic decision.
No, it was a decision taken 6 months back. But then probably the Ministry of Finance had some issues. because of which it was delayed. When it was implemented, the Election Commission said that it has to be postponed because of the code of conduct.
You know, looking back, do you see one of the biggest problems, one is of course the perception and communication, is also that a lot of your ministers were fighting, egos of big ministers was coming into play, whether it was environment and finance or agriculture and finance or home and finance.
Big people have big egos.
But then isn't Modi doing a smart thing by giving little people big responsibility?
So, are you underestimating his quantum of ego?
No, but at least there's one ego in the room.
That's it, minimum government.
So maybe that's a smart strategy way. But given what exactly, where do you think the Congress, if you could do it again, what things would you do right? Because,
Priya, let me tell you one thing. In every sector, the UPA government has done exceedingly well, except on the issue of statecraft. We have failed on the issue of statecraft. We have failed in the perception war. We have failed in the communication war.
But
so otherwise,
which has been ruling for the 3/4 of our independence or 2/3 at the
we unfortunately did not realize the importance of 24/7 media channels
हमने हरा दिया आपको.
and also the importance of social media. Most of these channels now are taking news from social media, from Twitters, from tweets. So therefore, we sort of underestimated this.
You didn't move with the times.
Maybe yes.
But now will you? Because your first step.
Now most of the youth now are on media, from Twitters, from tweets. So therefore, we sort of underestimated this.
You didn't move with the times.
Maybe yes.
But now will you? Because your first step.
Now most of the youth now are on WhatsApp. They are on Facebook. So I think we missed out on that.
No, that's the problem. You missed out on the social media. Also, you missed out in the last month. We don't see the Congress doing anything, making any right move, making one move that gives some confidence.
See, Priya,
that you guys are not down and out.
No, Priya, the whole issue is it's a government which has been in power for not more than 30 days. So let the government take decisions.
Also, this Subramanian Swamy's case on the National Herald, which...
Well, Subramanian Swamy, I don't have to tell you what he is.
The courts are taking him seriously.
Okay, fine. We'll take him on in the court.
Okay, and finally, there's also this Colonel Purohit, Swamy has again made a thing. He should be, his trial should be expedited. He should not just be...
No, I agree. The trial must be expedited. And if he is guilty, he should be punished. So therefore, I agree that the trial should be expedited not only for Colonel Purohit, but all cases where involving terror attacks, because justice delayed is justice denied.
So at least you agree on...
No, I agree not for Purohit, for all those who are accused in the terror attacks. At the same time, this should go as a model punishment against all those who have sort of acted who have sort of participated in these terror activities.
And finally, coming back to Rahul again, this since he is not ready to lead, you have other people who are very keen. You have Sharad Pawar dying to merge back with the Congress and probably take over the Congress again.
Who's stopping him? I've been saying this in the last 5-6 years.
You are welcoming him to merge?
Of course.
But are you not worried that seeing the leadership vacuum, a man like him will jump?
Even Sharad, I have said, why not Mamta? Mamta, and they are part of the Congress culture, Congress ideology, Congress ethos. They should all join Congress party.
But you're not worried of the danger that Rahul is not ready to rule? One of these ambitious people might...
Sharad Pawar is gone beyond that.
What, he now wants to be Chief Minister of Maharashtra?
Why not? Why not? I admire his willpower, his tremendous willpower. I have the greatest admiration for Sharad Pawar.
See, because he wants to lead, he wants to play an active role, which is...
That's it. Some people cannot remain without power, like Mr. Modi, who put all his might, put all his stakes, and put all BJP's this thing behind him.
Which is not a bad thing. Where it got him.
Well, let's see where he ends up.
We'll see that. Thank you so much for talking to us, and we're going to keep an eye on this.
Thank you, Priya.
Thank you. Well, that's all this week for Cover Story. We'll see you again same time next week.